Welcome to Roland-Garros 2026. By the time the quarterfinal matches began, the tournament's hierarchy had been completely gutted, leaving the draw wide open for a new name to emerge. Defending champion Coco Gauff, Elena Rybakina, and four-time champion Iga Swiatek had all been knocked out early. That left Aryna Sabalenka as the clear favorite. As the world #1 and the last Grand Slam champion standing in the entire draw, she held a massive experience advantage over the remaining field. Most analysts expected the remaining matches to be a formality, as Sabalenka's power game appeared too overwhelming for any of the lower-seeded players to disrupt. Her opponent was Diana Shnaider, a 22-year-old 25th seed competing in her first-ever Grand Slam quarterfinal. She was facing a world #1 for the first time in her career. Sabalenka validated the mismatch immediately. She used her trademark baseline power to force Shnaider into defensive positions, racing to a 5-1 lead. Sabalenka looked every bit the top seed as she closed out the first set 6-3, controlling the court with high-velocity ground strokes that Shnaider couldn't seem to touch. The second set began as a repeat of the first. Sabalenka broke Schneider's serve twice, building a 4-1 lead and eventually reaching a point where she was serving for the match at 5-4. From a 4-1 double-break deficit against the best player in the world, the odds of a comeback were nearly non-existent. For the crowd at court Philippe-Chatrier, the match was effectively over. The turning point arrived with Sabalenka just 2 points away from the win. She stood at 5-4 in the second set, preparing to finish the underdog in straight sets. But Shnaider began to adjust. Instead of trying to match Sabalenka's flat power, she started extending the rallies, using patient, deep court defense to force the world #1 into more risky, high-effort shots. This shift in strategy worked. Shnaider began dismantling the lead, reclaiming one break of serve and then snatching the second at the exact moment Sabalenka tried to serve for the match. You could feel the atmosphere in the stadium shift as Shnaider's defense began to yield results. The crowd sensed that the world #1's rhythm was fractured. Shnaider didn't let up. She pushed the momentum through the end of the set, winning 7-5 and forcing the match into a desire. Tennis is unique because it lacks a game clock. A player cannot simply run out time to protect a lead. If their focus breaks, the opponent has an infinite window to reclaim the match game by game. That loss of momentum led to a complete psychological fracture for Sabalenka. Her physical game, once reliable, began to break down under the pressure of the third set. The data shows the scale of the collapse. Sabalenka made a staggering 57 unforced errors across the match, a number almost unheard of for a player of her caliber. By the sixth game of the final set, Sabalenka was visibly unraveling. She fell behind 0-30 and stood still on the court, screaming out in frustration as the match slipped away. The result was a total avalanche. From the moment she trailed 4-1 in the second set, Shnaider won 12 of the next 13 games. Sabalenka saved 2 match points at 0-40, but the comeback was already complete. She sent her final shot into the net, ending the 2-hour and 12-minute contest. What began as a 5-1 lead for the world #1 ended in a 3-6, 7-5, 6-0 victory for Shnaider, a total reversal of the match's early statistical trajectory. "Honestly, I'm speechless," Shnaider told the crowd. The stadium was in shock as the tournament's biggest favorite walked off the court defeated. To deliver a third set 6-0 to a reigning world #1 at a Grand Slam is an extremely rare historical feat. Since WTA rankings began in 1975, only 3 other players have achieved this. The first was Steffi Graf. The second was Serena Williams. The third was Maria Sharapova. By joining this specific list, Shnaider has achieved a statistical anomaly shared by only 4 players in the last 50 years, a mark of dominance usually reserved for the sport's all-time greats. Shnaider now moves into a semifinal match against Maja Chwalinska, a fellow underdog in a draw that has been turned upside down. With Sabalenka's exit, Roland-Garros is now guaranteed to crown a first-time Grand Slam champion on Saturday. This historic shift is only possible because tennis lacks a timer. There is no way to simply wait out an opponent. Because a player must win the final point to win the match, psychological resilience remains the ultimate deciding factor. In this sport, no lead is ever truly safe, and no title is guaranteed until the very last ball is hit.